G'day, more beer than barrow back, and welcome to our first ever Northern Territory dry season expedition. So we are currently set up at camp on our first stop, which is on the Ferguson River here at Flat Rocks. And this is, as I said, this is our first stop. We're on the way to Darwin, and then from Darwin we're going to head out to some of the spots we've wanted to explore for a long time, including some of the Kakadu Billabongs. But how good is this spot? So this is what I would call easy camping. Perfect dry season conditions. Warm during the day, cool at night. Plenty of wood around for a fire. We're going to cook on the fire tonight. A few drinks. Put a couple of lines in the river. This is the Ferguson River, I think I've already mentioned. You can see why it's called Flat Rocks. You might have seen one of our other videos of this spot before. There's the sun disappearing behind the trees. We've seen some biggish crocs today. I couldn't get any pictures of them, they were too quick. But I think they're probably freshwater crocs. Don't know for sure. I'll have to be careful, but I think we're too far inland for the salties. And here is our camp set up. Looking back at camp. Just go around again. One heck of a place, this one. There we go, a hot plate. There's camp. There's Em reading a Kindle. Beautiful. Righto, so we are leaving Darwin a little bit later than we thought we would have been, because we had to get our windscreen repaired, thanks to a rock that was flicked up by a truck on the way up to Darwin. So expensive and a lot of faffing around, but it's done now, and we're leaving Darwin and we're just turning onto the Arnhem Highway, which is going to take us out towards Kakadu and the Billabongs. And on this occasion we are planning on going to the three Billabongs in the middle of the park that not many people know about, which is Red Lilly, Bucket Billabong and Alligator Billabong. So we've seen some other YouTube videos about those places. They look pretty good. They're lesser known spots, so that's our sort of thing. And yeah, we're excited. We would have loved to have tried these places last year or the year before, but we couldn't because whenever we've been up here, it's been around the fringe of wet season and the tracks have been closed. They're dry season tracks only. So in towards Kakadu, we're just going past Humpty Doo now, and we'll be another hour and a half to get to the Kakadu National Park, and then we've got to find the turn off, and that's four-wheel driving from there. For this fuel, it's killing me at the moment, diesel. So we've made it to Kakadu, and we know that from here it's probably about 20 to 30 k's to the turn off to the Billabongs, and our HEMA map should help us find that pretty easily. Onwards. Yeah, not an easy one to find, but I think this is it. So, Red Lilly Billabong to the left here, 3 kilometres. The other 2 are straight ahead, and I think there's a water crossing. Do you mind if we have a quick look at the water crossing in? Mm-hmm. We should drive up and have a look at the water crossing so we know what we're dealing with. Well, we've made it to the only real water crossing that these Billabongs provide you with, and apparently it's a deep one. It actually doesn't look too bad at the moment. Normally I would walk through it or wade through it to see just, how soft the surface is and how much, how deep it is. But there's something making me wary of doing that. And that would be this. I might have to have a good look and see if you know what, geez. That looks shallow to me. Yeah, I think when it's this low, I don't reckon I'm going to have any issues. Give it a go, eh? Yeah, well, I think this is a bit of an anti-climax, to be honest. It's very low, very shallow. I'm sure it's challenging when there's a bit more water in it and it's flowing, and there probably is a chance of crocodiles then. But the ground's rock hard. It's not even going to touch the hubcaps. So there you go. that's the only deep river crossing, and it is the middle of the dry season, so it's just those warning signs always make you a bit nervous, don't they? Okay, back at Billabong. We're just going to do a bit of exploring around the banks and see what the camping and the water access is like. Ideally, it'd be great if we can set up next to the water so we can get a hand line in. There's a few people set up actually, we can see. We'll get Em to film the water. That's the Billabong. We've got 2 nights here, so we can probably do a different one each night. Although that might be it for this spot. I don't see the tracks going any further. Okay, so the water you can see to the side of you is Alligator Billabong, and in fact here's the sign telling us Alligator Billabong. And we've just stopped and talked to some people from Queensland actually who said that this is probably the best campsite out of all 3, which is good because that's what we were hoping. He also said that they've seen some bloody great saltwater crocodiles here. So we see those obviously at the Keep River and the Lower Ord, but it's another chance for us to see some. So we're going to just have a look around. We can see lots of spots to pull up, but we'll see if we can find our perfect spot and get settled in for the night. Just doesn't look too bad. There's the boat ramp, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you camp here, but it just means that everyone who launches their boat is going to be right next to us. I do see the track continues, so I might explore this a bit further. Here at camp in our kitchen, what we call our kitchen anyway. We're still really happy with this 270-degree awning. Sets up super fast, packs up really quick as well, and we're still really happy with our dual battery system. And again, the battery hidden under that flat surface that Cookie at Ord Mechanical built us. Really easy to access the fridge now. And we've just got an ice box on the other side for drinks. Perfect for Em and I. That's all we need. Heaps of shade. should get shade and shelter all day round. And here's the view from camp. There'll be heaps of barra around here. So it is dry season, so the water's colder, they don't bite so much. I don't really care if I get one or not, to be honest. It's just a bonus if we do. It's just a splendid place to spend a couple of nights, really. Plenty of water, plenty of green grass. I've just got to make sure they don't get taken by salties and dingoes. That's their main challenge. Sorry, alligator billabong, what do you reckon?
Lovely so far.
Yep.
Yep.
Happy to stay here for a couple of days?
Yeah, it's nice and quiet, no one else. People out on the water.
Quiet, alright. Yeah, as Em said, a boat just went past, but there's no one else. Hey mate. An old looking wallaby. Taking life in his own hands by drinking out of the water. He's got no choice, I suppose, but I imagine that's how quite a few crocs get their meals, by sneaking up on these while they're on the bank. I'm actually here to see if I can spot any crocs around. Sun's starting to set here at Alligator Billabong, and we're settled into our campsite now. So just enjoying the sunset over the Billabong right in front of our campsite. We've got the fire going because it's going to be a coolish night for the top end, 13 degrees. That's pretty cold for up here. I'm just getting the coals ready. We're going to cook some ribs on the fire tonight. Just beautiful scenes. I would never choose to camp right at this spot if we didn't have that thing on top of our car, our rooftop tent. So the rooftop tent basically means that we can sleep with peace of mind that we're not going to get attacked in the middle of the night. If I'm being really honest, we're way too close to the water, like for safety's sake. Like I don't recommend anyone copies us and camps this close to the water where there's saltwater crocs, but we're pretty experienced and we know what precautions and what risk management strategies work for us. So we're giving it a go. Please camp right back from the water if you're unfamiliar, if you're not sure. I can see him. I don't know if that's showing on the camera or not, but he is an absolutely colossal centre of screen right there. Very, very big head. That's going to kill whatever it gets hold of. Like that's 30 metres away from me, and judging by the size of its head, that must be at least 5 to 6, at least 5 metres big, that one. Huge square jawed monster of a thing. So yeah, these are the things floating past our campsite. And then under he goes under the water. And now I'm going to move back from the water because I can't see him anymore. Look at the splash he just made. Those ripples are pretty much the length of his body. I'm going to move back from the water. Right on dusk now. And it would be fair to say Emma has a little bit of panic. Mainly because we've just seen a 5 metre saltwater crocodile just sail slowly past our campsite out in the water there. And yeah, I think we can see him. He's a bit further out now, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. I won't be able to get good footage of him in this light, but
I can see him.
He's definitely keeping an eye on us. And that's what I was talking about. You probably don't want to do what we do. We probably camp too close to the water. But like I said, we've got the rooftop tent. We're just going to keep our wits about ourselves. And then obviously when we go to bed, we'll be fairly safe. I will have a go at seeing if I can get him because he's about 30 metres out. Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be too dark for you to see much. You can see a little ripple there. That's actually 40 to 50 metres away, yeah. But yeah, he has gone past our campsite at least 6 or 7 times now. So we will have to exercise a bit of caution. The big bastard's come right up to our campsite now. So very different to the Cape River, where they've always kept well back. Now he is about 20 metres, I reckon 15 metres now. We're watching this one really carefully at the moment. Yeah, he's about 10 metres from me now. And still approaching. We just need to watch what he's... Like I said, it would be a world first if he actually invaded our campsite while we were awake and watching what's going on. Emma's telling me off now. But yeah, he's within 10 metres now. If he comes any closer, he's probably within striking distance. So it's pretty surreal. That's as close as I've been. And that's probably the most interested I've seen a croc.
Come back now.
Yeah, when he gets to those weeds, I'm going to move back. We've also got a bait in the water here. So. A monster or a croc. Oh, there's fish swimming around our bait as well. I've got a feeling that he's following the fish in that are following our bait. We'll keep you posted. Well, here we are at our new campfire, which you will notice has changed to about 15 metres behind our vehicle instead of in front of it. And that's solely because that big croc you saw earlier on the screen literally brought himself right up to the bank and just perched there looking at us. And in the end, I threw a piece of wood at him, and it hit him fair on the snout, and he jumped up in the air like jumping croc tours style, and took off. But he's still out there in the middle of the river. So we thought just to be safe, we'd move an extra 15 metres or so back. So we are now close to 50 metres back from the water. And Emma's a lot happier now.
Much happier.
But it was pretty freaky, yeah. That's we've seen crocs equally big at the Keep River, and they pretty much scatter. Like even the big crocs at the Keep River, like there's one 6 metres, 7 metres there. They bolt as soon as they see a bit of sign of human activity. These ones are obviously used to humans. I don't know whether people have been feeding them or giving them their fishing scraps or whatever, but he came right up. He could see we're fishing. I sort of wonder whether he was trailing our bait in as well. Watching to see whether there was any fish hanging around or any fish guts or anything like that. They probably know what fishing is and what happens when people go fishing. There's lots of scrap and food that ends up in the water. So yeah, that's an experience, all right. I won't forget that, and neither will them. And again, rooftop tent, worth their weight in gold. Quite a big run, but it's this fellow who's taken it. So yeah, 40 centimetre catfish, but nah, we wanted barra, so he goes back in. It's afternoon cuppa time, which Emma has prepared on her new purchase, which is this, the jet boil. Do you want to talk us through it, Em? We saw other people use these and we thought we're going to get one, so.
Yeah. Boils the water really, really quickly. You just turn on the gas and it's a really, really, really hot flame, and then it boils it up.
And it's basically a kettle you can just pull off straight away and put on. And yeah, literally like an electric kettle, just like that.
A couple of minutes.
Propane gas, eh?
Yeah.
Propane gas. A couple of minutes, you reckon?
Yeah.
That last one took less than a minute.
Yeah, it did actually. I had it on full, so it took less time.
Yeah, so far this is awesome. A great acquisition. I thought I'd show you just how dense the jungle that grows alongside the billabong is. Very easy to get lost amongst this. You've got to be careful. And it's full of all that classical tropical growth that you'd find in a jungle. Very, very difficult to navigate your way through this stuff. And of course, you've got to be careful because where these little creeks are that connect to the billabong, you're probably going to find saltwater crocodiles hanging around. And if you think it looks a bit like the scene from Crocodile Dundee, where that famous scene where Linda Kozlowski tries to fill up her water bottle and gets attacked by a crocodile, and Crocodile Dundee has to save the day. If you're thinking it looks familiar or looks similar to this, that's because Crocodile Dundee was actually filmed in Kakadu National Park, or those sections were anyway. Slow fishing today. We got one bite over the whole day today, so hopefully it gets better when it gets dark again. We have spent a day relaxing, eating and doing not very much at all, which works really well because we enjoy doing that anyway. So behind me is a spot where we're going to keep an eye out for our visitor again, who'll probably turn up again once it starts getting dark. So yeah, he paid us a visit, as you know, last night, and we'll keep an eye out again for him tonight. But I'm looking forward to our last night here at the Billabong. We'll drive back towards Darwin tomorrow. But really relaxing day, very slow fishing. We've picked up a couple of catfish and some terrabin, but nothing that exciting, and I suppose the water's pretty cold at the moment. So, the end of a fairly uneventful but pleasant day. Secret recipe: roast beef with curry. Always use Keens. Put a bit more. well, old mate did make an appearance about half an hour ago, but he, as far as we know, he hasn't come back yet. So we will continue to monitor. Still no sign of old mate. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping that he got scared off by the lump of wood that I hit him with yesterday. But maybe he's just getting better at hiding. The colours of the dawn and dusk skies up north are something really hard to capture. Even on this footage that you're looking at, you won't really get to experience just how dynamic and vivid these colours are. This is just a really sort of minimal representation of it. To be honest, it's part of the reason why we moved up north. There's nothing that comes close to dawn and dusk in Australia's north. Camp oven beef curry is ready. Just have a quick look at how it turns out. Sensational. Bit of carrot, Keen's curry powder. Roast the whole joint, then cut it into sections and let it stew in its own juices. Absolutely sensational. Tastes fantastic as well. I'm a bit biased though. Have a go at the horns on that. He's big. You got a close up on him? Get the horns, yeah. Got it? Mm-hmm. He big. G'day, mate. Those horns are huge. Imagine getting charged by that thing. Stick to the left, wasn't it? The right bit was the body bit. If it was high enough, you would have to be careful. Righto, so this is Red Lilly Billabong. This is the easiest one to get to. If M films out to the right there, you'll see that's very sort of lots and lots of campsites along the edge of the water. And there's a couple of people set up there. And in fact, this one seems to have the most number of camping options, if I'm being honest. Because we found at Bucket and Alligator there were like enough but limited. This one seems to be able, you seem to be able to just drive along the length of the Billabong and pull up wherever you want. I'll get M again to just film back at the water. There's a boat ramp there. This is definitely the easiest one to get to out of all of them. And this is peak dry season. There's really not that many people here. And you can see it goes further and further, the track. If we look ahead, this track keeps going, so I assume there's more spots further ahead. What we'll do is we will stop filming and we'll report back to you shortly. This is Red Lilly Billabong, and in fact it's one of the spots that you access by going as far to the east as you can along the Red Lilly access track. And as it turns out, I think it would be fair to say that Red Lilly actually has the most camping options. There were probably dozens of spots with pretty good access to the water that we came across on the way up to this point. And the track actually, if you wanted to chuck it in low range and bash a bit further, you could probably get further along the Billabong up to where you're looking now. And this appears to be used as a boat ramp, and obviously people have just smashed their boat out through those lilies to get out into the Billabong. There's more convenient boat ramps back to where everyone else had been camping that you saw earlier. But I'm going to say this was the one we thought would be the least impressive, but it looks pretty good, so I think I'll come back to do a bit more exploring here another time. Yeah, so you can see the track continues up. It looks like it's about to get a bit tougher going, but maybe another trip I'll explore as far up this way as I can. It's looking back towards the water there. Well, this is another spot at Red Lilly. When you zoom in on those lilies, you can also see why it's called Red Lilly. I'll just do that quickly. You can see the colour of them is actually red. But this is a spot for the bird lovers. Before I got here, there were literally probably thousands of water birds on the surface of the water. They all scattered when I got here, unfortunately, so I've blown that opportunity. But yeah, just another spot along the Billabong. I'm thinking my mum would love this spot because she loves bird watching, so this would be ideal. You would sit back here quietly and just watch the birds. Geese or ducks as well. I'm back now at the main section of Red Lilly Billabong where most of the people camp. And this is just one of a handful of camps around this main area. There's no shortage of spots to pull up here. And I imagine a few off-road campers and camper trailers make it to this area. You can see there plenty of space along here to set up. next to the water, whilst being mindful of the saltwater crocs that live here. Beautiful. Welcome to camp at Dundee Beach. Dundee Beach North this time. We've gone back to the spot we went to last year, and just wanted to run through some of the equipment that we've used on this trip for the first time that's made our experience a little bit better. So I'll start off with this rear wheel bag. There are lots of different makes. This one happens to be TJM, but it's fantastic because all that dirty rubbish that you should be taking out after you've finished, instead of going into your car or into your tray, it's outside the vehicle safely in this, stored in this. That goes for any dirty laundry that you might have as well. Just undo these buckles. It was 60 odd litres storage in there, so we've got set up for the bin at the moment, but we also used it for firewood. So we managed to transport in all the firewood that we're going to need, because there's not much firewood here at the beach, obviously. All the firewood we brought in came in the rear wheel bag, so that's fantastic. And speaking of the firewood, this is the Wallaby brushless chainsaw. This is close to the best thing I've ever owned. It's absolutely superb. It runs on the lithium interchangeable batteries that power all Wallaby 1 tools. So you can see our selection there. This chainsaw works as well as any petrol chainsaw I've ever used. It just flies through all the wood that we've needed. It had no worries cutting up all that wood. And that's the wood I was talking to you about that we brought in the rear wheel bag. We managed to carry that all in with us in the rear wheel bag. But you know, there's some big heavy cuts there, and the Wallaby brushless chainsaw just flew through all those cuts. You know, that's a great example there. That's a solid, heavy chunk of wood, and it's made light work of it. So, fantastic chainsaw, really effective and high quality. Obviously not tradesman quality, but for someone who just wants to cut up some wood when they're camping, can't fault it. And as I was saying, it runs off those lithium batteries. That's the 5 amp hour battery. You can also get 9 amp hour and 2 amp hour batteries, and we've got a whole bunch of those because we run all of our stuff off it. So you can see our fan there. We've got a couple of fans. They're really important sort of around the edge of wet season. If you're doing camping around then, that just gets the air moving around, especially in your tent when you're trying to go to sleep at night. They'll run all night off these batteries easily. Our high-powered torch, again, that runs off one of the 2 amp hour batteries that we've got. The vacuum cleaner, same again. You know, when you're camping at the beach, obviously there's a lot of sand. We're going to end up carting some of that into our rooftop tent. So in the morning we just take up the vacuum cleaner, and again runs off the same batteries that everything else does. So, yep, all of this stuff has really made a really massive positive impact on our trip. And like I said, we wouldn't have got the firewood we needed without the bag and the chainsaw, that's for sure. We wouldn't have any fire tonight. The sunset's not too far off now, probably within the next couple of hours.